down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
On the back of here is our outline for today. Okay, you can follow along. Does anybody, who is a property manager in here? Because you're going to get blasted.
Never mind. Do your own properties count?
Well, I don't care. But you're getting paid. Someone's paying you to manage someone else's property. I want to know who you are in the room because it's going to get funky.
I am not taking on anymore.
I don't want. Some girl didn't like me last time because they said I was a somebody.
She did.
Anybody who's here last month? Have nobody? Did I do anything wrong last month? I know it was he's a property manager. Sit your down. Come on, buddy. Why don't you sit right front, center? All right. Here's the goal. Listen, I'm not a big fan of property managers. I want to get that out straight. No disrespect if you are a property manager. Are we recording this deal? Yes, we are. But if you're going to succeed in this business, you're going to hire a property manager somewhere. It's inevitable, okay? A friend of mine went on vacation and things blew up in their face. And I was like, hey, man, you probably should hire a property manager for temporary reasons. A property manager is a great resource to help you with going through some struggles, okay? But how do you find a good property manager? Does anyone have an idea? How do you find one? Anybody that's here is a good property manager, so put your hands up again. I would consider these people as property managers. You got Jackie, Tracy, and Linda right there. Okay, they're all property managers. You guys taking on properties right now? Okay, they're taking on properties. Taking on properties? No. Okay, one person that's hungry. Two that walked in. All right. How do you find a property manager?
Well, referrals or...
Referrals. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you got your eyes set on, I got a property manager. Okay. You ask questions. All these questions on the back of your agenda are the questions that you need to know. Okay?
Find them in eviction court.
Find them in eviction court.
Yeah. Maybe not for good reason.
Yeah, I don't know if I would.
Joe was the one.
I don't know. That's
That may not be enough.
okay. Okay. How do you find property? First of all, I think if anyone's there's an association called an apartment association, a local one. That would be a good place to find a property manager. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing that I would look for, are they motivated? The second thing that I look for is, are they willing to learn? Because the way I manage property is not the way they manage property. And are they going to be willing to bend and go a direction that I need them to go to? And the other reason why is that there's a lot of property managers that have been abused for so many years, and they don't want to grow. And that's the property manager I really don't want to hire. Okay? So you've got to set these things in motion. Okay? Any questions, comments? Remember, this is not the VanCauwenbergh Savvy Landlord Show. This is your time. Okay? So you've got to contribute. If you have a question, a comment, don't be shy. Just raise your hand and we'll get to you. Nate.
I find the best way to find decent landlords is look at it like dating for marriage. You interview them. They're not interviewing you, because at that point, like, you switched the script and you're able to kind of get more into the detail-oriented questions and figure out if you're going to be a good fit. Because it's just like a marriage at the end of the day. Any business partnership is.
Absolutely. And I agree with that 110%. Just like if you're going to partner with someone, you're married to them. Okay? You are responsible for you. They are representing you. If you can't turn the computer off, come on. So you have, remember, what does a property manager do for you? They represent you. They're almost like a power of attorney. Okay? If you go to court, if that property manager does something wrong and you go to court, who's responsible? You are. Or ultimately you are, right? You're the one that has the note and mortgage. You're the one that's stuck with the property. And you're the one that's probably going to get what? Sued. Okay? So don't take it lightly with your property management. Come on, man, Jimmy. Come on in. Come on in. You can sit in here, man. It's okay that you go to LA every once in a while. We still friends here. All right. So what's a good question? How many units do you think is a good property manager? How many units? 100?
It's hard for them to be profitable less than
Right.
300.
Okay, so this is why I always feel sorry for real estate agents working for me, because they really don't make money, because I buy $50,000 houses. How much money are you really going to make on a $50,000 house if you're splitting 6%, right? That's why I'm real sensitive on and going out and looking at a house with a realtor, because it's real small. That the same effort that it takes to sell a $300,000 house is the same effort. Now, think of that in property management world, okay? They have to make money. Right? And how much do they usually typically make?
10%.
10%. 10%, and they usually have a fee on the front end. What's a typical fee on the front end? Tracy, since you're a property manager.
I don't do that. We do a charge fee for finding tenants, but we don't have
Okay, how does that work? You charge a fee to, that's why I'm going to beat up property managers. You charge a fee to have a website?
no, to find the tenant.
Well, don't they come to find you?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't tenants find you?
To find a qualified tenant?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how much does it cost?
Minimum 600. It depends on the house.
$600. So if I have a $30,000 house and I'm renting it out for $450, you're going to charge me $600 to place a tenant.
It'll vary, but yeah, we can do
Is that negotiable?
Yeah.
Okay, write that down. Everything's negotiable. Now, this property man, I'm telling you, I'm going to go against property managers, so they're going to hate me by the end of the day. But they have their standard, they have their policy, and you can adjust that. And how can you do that? Like, you can get a discount if you have multiple properties. Do you give discounts
Yeah,
for a landlord that has like 50 units versus a landlord that has one?
we would.
Do you take landlords that have, do you have landlords right now that just have one property?
No, I have a couple that only have 2.
So nobody has just one, they have 2.
Right.
Okay. And on your portfolio, how many units do you manage?
It's about 16.
16 total?
Yeah.
Not 1,600?
No,
I'm just teasing.
it's only a side. We don't do that for ours.
Okay, well, you're always like professional. Got a name tag on. You got a name tag. Dude, I'm impressed. So with
Most
16
of them-
units,
Most of them we help is the ones we also help buy for them. And they don't want to deal with tenants, so we help them out.
okay, so you manage 16 property. Do you own any property yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so is that included in the 16 total? Okay, so you have your own portfolio, and then you manage for 16 other people. How many of those?
16 other
I
people.
mean, 16 units.
It's only 5 people.
5 people. That's the number I'm trying to get to. Okay. Well, that sounds like a good shop to me, right? Would he answer their call? Would he take my call? Right? Okay. So, how do you answer that question? How many rentals do you manage? What's a good number? Anybody want to take a gander? What's a good number?
I'd say 500.
500.
Why not?
You ain't never gonna get a call back. Maybe they might have a staff of 10 people.
Mm-hmm. You got to pay for that staff of 10 people.
Well, we're going to talk about staff here in a minute, but think about it. So you're happy with someone that manages 500
Not by themselves.
versus someone that manages 1,600.
Well, no, not necessarily.
No. Hey, we're learning here.
I thought you were
There's no right or
asking-
wrong answer
I
here.
thought you were asking me if I was a property manager, how many would I want to manage?
Oh, I want thousands. Thousands. Yeah.
So I'm misunderstanding
I
the
mean,
question.
no. Like, what's a good property manager? How many units is that property manager? I'm prospecting you. I'm calling Tracy up, and I'm like, hey, bro. This is number one question you need to ask.
Okay.
Why is this question? Why is this this is my number one question I put up here?
No more than 30 per person.
Huh?
No more than 30 per
Okay,
person.
you have a system for they should manage 30 units per person that work there?
Well, I don't want them to manage more than that because then it's
Okay, so you want a smaller number. Okay, so Clint, what we're trying to find out is what's like. Here's the gist of the question: are they educated enough? Are they weathered enough? Are they going to handle it enough? Tracy's never called me with a landlord question, but other landlords that have hundreds of properties have called me with a question. Now, I know a guy that manages 300. I have lunch with him once a month, and I learn a lot from him, right? So the question that you need to know, there's some property managers out there that say they have 600 units. The question is that where you're at in the chain, is that going to give you the service that you want or that you need? Now, I managed some property for some people for a while, and it was a nightmare. I thought to myself, wow, how these poor people make money? Because you figure it out. If you really, I'm like crazy. So I break it all down. when they answer the call, how long does that take? Then they have to call this, then they have to do that, then they got to do this. Man, it's how much you making? That rent's how much? $600. They made $60. So I'm trying to give you a perspective of what their job entails, so you don't yell at them all the time, right?
Sure.
So, well, what's a good number? So you said 30. Tracy does 16. How many units do you have? 70. You manage?
No, I just started doing it.
Oh, well, your friend has 70.
She manages all of ours too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have like 70. Okay. I don't know. Anybody want to tell me a number? What's a good number? Just tell me why you think it's a good number. What's your name?
Me?
Yeah, Brian.
Brian, I was thinking about 100 would be reasonable if you have some support staff behind you, like one person to help out with tables.
That's the number I thought, 100, right? I think they're pretty weathered. There's 10 other sad landlords involved, investors that believe in that person, right? So they at least have so many. Anybody else have a number that they feel comfortable with?
Number of years.
Number of years. How long they've been doing it?
5+.
5+. It's great. Write that down. 5 years. Sounds good. I did the podcast on air. Anybody will listen to the podcast on these questions?
What's your vacancy rate in eviction?
Yeah, we're going to get to that. But has anybody heard this? Okay. But that's a good rule of thumb. Minimum 3 years as a property manager, 5 years as a seasoned property manager. They've pretty much seen it all. Even to this day that I've been managing property 18 years, I still am dumbfounded.
And if you're a brand new property manager, you need to act like you've been doing it for 5 years.
Well, if you want to hustle. Okay, another question you need to ask, and question is just trying to get their rationale. How do you set the rental rate? So, Jimmy, you have rentals. How do you set the rental rate?
Comps in there.
Okay, what does that mean? I don't know what the word comp means.
Just doing research, seeing what other houses are renting.
What kind of research? Where do you get your information from?
Multiple, Craigslist,
Craigslist?
Renometer.
Okay. So that's the question you want to find out. You need to ask him though. He's trying to hustle me, trying to dodge me. I'm gonna drill him. But you need to find out. Be prepared. So Tracy, how do you set the rent on a rental?
We do comparisons for the area.
Comparison. How do you compare the property?
You can drive around, look for signs.
Signs and call them. And you call them personally?
Usually my wife.
Okay.
She likes
Well. Okay. So now, what if they say this? We're going to get the maximum rent possible. Is that a good answer?
No.
Why not?
Sit on the market for
Why not? Who loses in that equation?
the landlord.
Landlord. Who wins in that equation?
Property.
Right.
Short-term rentals.
Right. So the question, the way they should answer is they should be a servant type attitude. Hey, we want to get this. What's your policy? And this is what questions I would ask. Where do you come up with the rent number? Because I'm always conservative. And then do you ramp it up or do you lower it? And when should we lower the rent? Okay. Whose job is that? To lower the rent to get a tenant in there. Who's responsible for that question? Hey, it's not renting. It's $800 a month. I went on rental meter. I talked to Jimmy. He pulled comps. He said, you got to rent it out for $800. 3 of the houses in the neighborhood are $800. They're $800, but it's not renting.
That's a shared conversation, I think, between the property manager and the landlord.
I think the landlord should call you and say, listen, this is not moving. We need to lower this rent. We need to have a plan here.
Or instead of lowering the rent, add more value.
Right.
Charge the same rent, just give more shit away. And that way you have people that want to live there as opposed to people that have to live there.
My philosophy at my office, and I go crazy on this one, listen, these people are going to live somewhere. They call here, they're looking for a place. There's something wrong if you ain't renting them something. Mm-hmm. We have property at all demographics. And you have to, in my world, I empower my property manager. If you want to lower the rent, like they do a special, hey, get them in there within reason, right? We may do a rent move-in special, but we're going to hammer them on requirements. Like it's going to be ironclad that they've had a job for X amount of time. So this is a conversation you should definitely have. But this is what I've seen, and this is all this stuff is based on all friends like you guys. Investors call me crying. Property manager did them wrong. And one of the things is that I just recently got aware of is that the dude calls me, an investor calls me crying. Man, I'm about to choke you out. I can't rent this. Come on, Daddy. Don't be shy. And you grab a water too since you're late. Yeah. Come on in. So, you know, my homie calls me. He's like, rookie investor. And I'm proud of him because I told him to hire a property manager straight up because he has a full-time job. You know, you should, you know, blank, blank, blank. And his rent was way too high by like $75. It's like a $600. He had it priced at $750 in the hood. It should be about $675 for this property, right? Month clicks by, he never gets a call. I'm like, bro, drop the F in rent, and he rents it out that week. Because most tenants, why? They look at what? The cost, the rent, right? Just like buying a car. What's the first thing? They don't care about interest rate. It could be 30% interest rate if it's only $200 a month, right? So who else thinks that way? Tenants think that way. They're not thinking about the electricity bill. They're just thinking about they have to move. So it's a fire sale for them, and they'll think about the electricity and all that stuff, you know, later. Okay, somebody had a question.
I was just going to comment that I experimented this week and I dropped my rent $5.
$5.
800 to $795. And I started getting like 15 calls.
Yeah. All my rents are $5 less. All of them. If it's $950, it's $995. I mean, whatever. It's $45. Or still, you know, they say statistically, if you put a 7, you ever see those gurus try to sell you a book or something? Everything's 7, like $9.97, $97. Just start watching TV. Yes, it's 7. It's like a mental thing. But $5 sounds $7.95 sounds cheaper than $800. Okay, but that's if you don't do that now, you should probably do that and see what Joan had. All right, here's another one. What type of properties do you manage? Is that an important question?
Very.
Maybe. Who said maybe?
No, very important.
Very important. I was about to slap you. That's super important. Because guess where my properties are? Not all of them. But I have some Edmond ones, like 2, and 75% of my portfolio is somewhere else. Do you need to ask that property manager? Now they're going to try to get your business, right? They're going to say, but like, you know, Jackie has a bunch of in the Village, Northwest Side, right? Is that where all your properties are? You manage over there, all your friends, turn your phone off. All those people over there?
First time at a meeting.
Right? I think it's extremely important. And the reason why you have to ask this question and try to ask it sensitively, because let's say lower income tenants are a lot more abusive, but don't be misled that a low end tenant and a high end tenant is the same drama. They threaten you a lot more. They threaten you with a gun. They threaten you with an attorney.
And also,
it's the same way how you look at it, right? You're all going to die anyway. So you might as well, which one you want to take? You're going to get hung and get shot. Because so you need to ask your property manager, where's your portfolio that you manage?
Another big part you can build off of is like language barriers. If you deal with minorities, maybe they're Burmese or maybe they're Latin. If you don't speak their language, you're not going to rent them.
Yeah, great property manager back there has a Spanish-speaking person. All of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, girl, I didn't know. I was like, how much you make?
Come on over the dark side.
Hey, don't worry about that, dude. She's downstairs in our building because she's right by the kitchen. I hear him. I'm like, wow, didn't know. And that's, I think, extremely important. Like, I typically do not buy on the South Side. No offense to the South Side. And I believe Hispanics, my wife's Hispanic, so I can say this, are wonderful tenants. They pay, but I do get, I have zero patience. Even when you're tardy. I'll give you water, but I'm still mad. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when the language barrier, like, I don't got the money. No, you got the money, right? And it frustrates me, but if their portfolio is on the South Side and they're Spanish-speaking people, it just makes logical sense. All right. Ask them what are I think another question is, are you an investor? That's the question I asked Tracy in a nice way. What's your portfolio? Right? Now, could that be good or bad?
Yeah. Priorities, yeah.
Priorities. This is a great, everybody should get hot and excited on this one. Priorities.
Because they have the incentive. I don't know. There's always, like, my managers, they have more than 300 units that they manage, but
The ones that you have, the company you're with. So you.
I use property management.
Okay. Now who hires a property manager? We got. Okay. Okay. So the property manager. Oh, this is good. Okay.
So
you got
there's always
5.
some emergency somewhere. not
There's always
necessarily-
a drama.
right.
There's heat and air problem right
And, like,
now
how do
somewhere.
they pick,
Someone's dying.
You know, do they go to my place or their place if that's they own
Okay.
it? You know?
Now, so this individual, I don't want to hear nobody's name. Okay. I don't want to know about nobody's company except for the people that are in the room. This company that you work with, are they a real estate investor?
No. Well, no.
No. And how'd you hear about them?
Well, it's a company.
Yeah. Now, you think they should be an investor?
I don't
Why
think
is that?
Your values are not aligned. If they don't understand the game, they're just playing on the sidelines. Like they can be great bench warmers, but they're never going to be the MVP because their alignment is very different than what yours are.
Yeah,
I don't agree with Nate Dogg.
They're in the property management business, so they have a system for that.
I mean, okay, you have a comment on Nate's? I don't want to beat up Nate, but I'm just...
Sure, beat me up. I want to hear.
No,
Well, maybe not so his comment, but if a property management company gets a call for a 3-bedroom house and they've got one available of their own, and you've got 5 of them sitting there vacant, who's they going to rent first? Right?
and that's why I think...
Right.
That's right.
And I completely
But, like,
agree with that. But on that same token, I believe it's a world of abundance, and you're going to have more than one person calling for that same home. And so, to me, I don't look at scarcity mindset.
Sure.
I look at separating yourself with value. What do they add that you do? If they don't offer free Wi-Fi, where are they going to live if it's the same
But
place?
property managers are not investors, and so they don't necessarily make the right decisions. I employ people that don't own homes. They don't even own homes themselves, but they manage hundreds of homes.
Sure.
So
I
you can't play that card where, well, they're smart enough, because I deal with a certain type of clientele. I know a lot of people can't deal with that type of clientele. That's why I'm successful over here, because I'm hood. But over here, a doctor that's a surgeon, he probably would never, doesn't even know where the east side is.
Sure. I guess, like, to me, how many hours do you want to work in your business?
Well, that's why we're talking
Like a
about property
month.
managers.
Like a month. How many hours would you...
Me?
Anybody. It doesn't matter. Like me, I try to work as little as I can because my time is valuable. I want to do other things than answer
Sure.
phones and show rent units. So for
That's
me,
why we hire property managers.
Exactly. That's the whole idea. And if someone's already in the game and they got, like, I don't know, millions of dollars worth of inventory in their possession and they're managing it, you can take advantage of their systems, their processes, their people, and you can move forward and go do anything else with your time besides...
So the debate is, someone that has property, he says that it's a conflict of interest sometimes. He says he likes that because they're focused on their job. That's their damn job.
Sure.
So who else has a comment on that? And I agree with what you're saying. I'm not opposed to that. I only want to work with like-minded people. If you're a punk, don't even come in here. Because like, if you don't like me because I said something wrong, get out. Right? Because I only want to hang out with people that are like-minded people. So I want to do business with like-minded people, and I want to hire like-minded people. I agree with what you're saying, but Alan has a valid point. What if anyone, if you have to pay your mortgage, you're going to pay your daughter's surgery, what are you going to do?
Sure.
Right. So you got a vacancy, and it's a good vacancy. And I'm not a good vacancy. You got a good prospect. You vetted them out. They're bling bling. They're ready to roll. I mean, I've seen property managers in my own life move a tenant from pass a tenant on from property manager to get the upfront money and appease the other guy. I mean, there's a lot of tricks to the game. I'm gonna tell. If we got time, we can get to the tricks.
I think that's why it's important to back end your managers because they're aligned with your goals. Like when managers have something that breaks or a tenant moves out, they make money.
Right.
Their goals are aligned with you. Like when they move out, they get their 1 month or whatever instead of doing that up front. I think they're more apt to find someone that's going to stay the whole year because if they don't, well, sure as shit, they're not going to get the money that they're entitled to because they didn't find a qualified tenant.
All right, talk a lot. Here we go. So, the answer to this question then. Would you want a company, because this hinges on all your philosophy. Okay, you don't get ready for this one, because I won't get it. Would you want the property manager to have staff and you deal with him, or the staff, or it's just the one guy that's aligned with all your beliefs?
I don't deal with the staff because they're not aligned with my beliefs. They're an employee. I deal with the person that owns the company.
Okay, but that guy's on the golf course all the time because he has a successful property management team.
If that guy exists, I haven't met him.
Okay. This is interesting. Who are you talking to, right? are you talking to the person that's going to do your job for you and represent you? Remember, or he's just going to sell you a bill of goods. We're the best property management in the world, but you got my cell phone, right? Because this is how these jokers work. But then they're not even doing the game. There's a property management company that just got bought and sold. It's like a commodity. That's what. No, just curious to see what I'm just teasing you. Good, Joe.
I like to go look at their properties. For instance, I had one
that's a good tip.
property next to mine, and it was horrid. I mean, I had to call the owner because he wouldn't deal for me with the owner.
Another question you need to know is do they know the laws? And I didn't hear it somewhere, but I ask them, this is a question I ask, because I don't know if we're going to get to all these, but this is a question I ask them, how do you handle an eviction? Have you asked that question?
Many times.
And what does that person say?
Generally, they take me out of the equation completely because I'm generally not here.
No, but let's go with someone proper. Who's in my property managers? Tracy, how do you handle an eviction? This is the question you need to ask, because this is going to spill all the beans of their skill set. Okay, this is what I'm trying to preempt this deal. You ask this question, then you'll hear what their business model is, right? And is evictions important? Okay, Mr. Tracy, how do you handle an eviction?
We have a written form.
Written form.
It's posted on the door if nobody's home, certified mail, and regular mail. And so far, everybody always moves. We haven't had to go to court.
Okay. Another question I was asked: what's your average rent for the properties that you manage?
Lowest one is $850.
Okay. Well, that tells you what? Different quality of tenant. Okay. Now the question I ask if you ask me this question, well, the first thing is that we abide by the law. That's the first thing that comes out of the mouth. And then I say, would you like me to explain the process to you? We have a zero tolerance of non-payment of rent. And I'm like, we're all up in the effing face. Whoever I'm talking to. You even bring that conversation up to me, and you call me and you ask me for advice, I almost blast you because you ain't doing your job. Anytime that you do not follow the law or not evict somebody, you're hurting every other landlord in the place. You're just passing the buck down the line. So if that landlord is passive answering that question, he's going to be passive on that deal, and at the end of the day, you're gonna eat the lunch. Yes.
Another one is, do they go to court or do they hire an attorney? If they hire an attorney, that's going to cost you.
Well, the law. What's the law say about that? Does anybody want to get it? Because I know the law. What's the law say?
You're not supposed to practice law without a license, so you might have to.
You don't have to be an attorney to do it. You have to have a management.
What does the law say? What does the law say?
I talked to the judge last month. You have to have a management agreement in place for them to do evictions for you, and they can represent you.
Well, I'd probably safe to say have a power of attorney. I wouldn't say a management agreement. I'm just saying. Hey, listen, these judges are crazy down there. Just so you know, they throw stuff out of court all the time just because you smell funny. So, because you're a millionaire because you got one house, but. Can you do that? Yes, but the question is it worth their time to do that? And then are they making money on you by filing for you, or is it cleaner to hire someone to outsource that for an attorney that does it all day? Who answer that question? Who wants to answer that question? Which way is the better way? Good.
Outsource.
Outsource. Okay. Who else? Outsource them.
Our lady does it for cost, and she takes care of the whole thing with the power of attorney.
I struggle with this because I used to do all my own evictions, okay, and then I got bigger, and then we have a policy at our office. If we have more than 10 that month or 5 that month, then we do them all ourselves because we're going to be down there anyway, right? Now, usually if it's 1 or 2 or 3, because when we hire an attorney, they say that dude's name, it is never a debacle. But if you ever just sit in an eviction court, you should sit there. Everyone should go to eviction court one time, and you should see this game that goes on down there. And it's interesting. I think the judges look for landlords and they like to crush them, just for fun. Oh, you don't have your if you don't have I have all this written out. I did 60 cases down there, and I was writing a book on it. It was dumb. Confessions of Eviction Court. Who's gonna buy that book? No one buys my book now. Why would anybody buy that book?
Give a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah. But I learned so much. I learned never to go back down there again. That's the one thing that I did learn. It's like jumping through hula hoops. You got to go to this floor to pay this fee. Then you got to get the judge to sign. Then you got to go back and pay a fee. Then you got to go back down to the judge to sign off on that fee to prove that you paid this fee. I'm not joking. This is serious, and I have it play by play. Floor 4, room 205. Because I train people behind me, right? Because I'm trying to save. How much money am I really saving by doing the evictions myself? Because it all boils down. Because what's the percentage? Just for fun, what's the percentage of the case if you're standing in front of the judge?
50-50.
50-50. Now, would you invest for 50-50? Would you buy a house for 50-50? Is it going to go well, or are you going to lose money? Would you invest like that? That's like buying a lottery ticket. And what's the... Dumb. Yeah.
I'd like to comment on that 50-50 that you just said, because if you hire an attorney and the tenant shows up to dispute it, that attorney cannot argue on your behalf because he doesn't know the situation.
In the hallway, he can. In the hallway.
You can try to negotiate a...
Now, what will happen is the judge will say, "Merp, merp, we need the blank blank here," and then they'll set a new date. But you can go outside. And the judge will tell you, "Go outside."
And then you'll have to go back on the new date.
And then the attorney will call me. I'm like, no. But that's how it goes down. But yes, the attorney can represent you and negotiate for you in the hallway. Not under oath, though. Okay, and that's why you have to have, what are those things called when they sign off on it? It's minutes.
Arbitration?
Well, no.
Affidavit?
The thing at the end where you sign off and you have an agreement.
Oh, the minute order.
The minute order. The judge, you can sign. All right. Any questions on that? Are you an investor? Is that important? Is that important for you? Raise your hand if they're an investor. Okay. Does it matter? You don't care? Okay. All right. Monthly fee structure and what should I expect? Anybody have comments on that? How much do you charge, Tracy?
10%.
10%. Why do you come up with 10%?
Just seems to be what everybody else was doing.
Well, there's that.
Come on, Tracy. You got a better answer than that.
I just do this as a side. This is not our...
All right. I need to pick on somebody else. You know what other property managers in here? They all scared. They knew I was going to crush them. I really thought 10 was the standard, right? Until I heard someone getting 7.
Yeah.
I do 6.
You manage property?
No.
You pay for somebody 6?
I pay 9.
You pay 9? Anybody else want to say a number?
But
6,
I mean,
7,
if
9?
it's a large apartment, I mean, you could go down
A large
to
apartment?
3.
Okay. No, it's just interesting. Like, where does this stuff come up from? Like, 10. I for a long time, I heard 12. Well, I've heard 12. And someone said, wow, if they're doing super service, and I'm in Hawaii all the time hanging out, which I wouldn't be there, but is 12% worth it?
Sure. Time value.
I'm about to hire a contractor today. Is it worth it? This GC that I'm working with, he has a portfolio, a reputation, quality work. Is he the cheapest? No. Is he the most expensive? I don't know. Does it really matter? Not necessarily. What's my end goal? We're trying to what? Make money. Everybody say, let's make money. Make money. What's our goal?
Make money.
Not to save money.
Cash flow.
Not to save money. Not to save money. To make money. If I'm paying that dude 12 and he's bringing me deals, or he's saving me money because I have data for 20 years, he's making me money. But your CPA, is he making you money?
Hell yeah.
Okay? Think like that. We get all hung up on what this should be and this shouldn't be because everyone else is paying that. You know, my fee structures that I have with my staff are totally different. Then, I mean, you should, this is a question you should ask. I just learned this from a guy that has an apartment building, and he has a full-time staff down there, and this is in another state. And, you know, and this is so common sense, and it just slapped me in the face, and it was, we pay a bonus for vacancy rate over 95% or something like that. Right? And I'm like, that's just a common thing, right? I mean, this makes sense. Like, incentivize.
Sure.
I want to be incentivized. You should be incentivized. But I never thought of it like that, right?
A lot of values.
I'm telling you, I instituted that maybe 3 months ago. I'm crushing it. Because this guy that's coaching me, he was like, he broke it down to the penny of how much more money I'm making by paying people more to get my vacancy rate up. Come on, put your hands together. Come on, come on, come on. Clap that. Come on. I mean, think about it logically, because I'm like, man, we're only at 90, 88. The banks are looking at it. Now I'm looking at the cash flow. But in reality, man, can we juice this up? What would it be like if we were at 95% occupancy right now? Wow, we would pocket another 2 G's, right? How much is our bonus? 500. Would you pay 500 for 1,500?
Any day of the
All
week?
day long.
Come on. That's what you need to ask your property manager that. Do you incentivize your staff? Now, I've seen property managers, leasing agents, or how everyone has a name for somebody, but you know, they're on commission. In some apartment buildings, they get a small base and they're incentivized. That scares me because sometimes they'll slam tenants in there because they want to make quota, or they want to.
Tenants don't stay. Like 3 months later, it's all for naught, and then they go
Right.
back.
Well, that's happened to me many times. But see, like, here's the deal. Like, we have a strict policy. First of all, for the law. Okay. The second thing, if it ever gets funky, because everything's recorded from the minute we find out that you're fired if you cut any corner on that deal, on these 3 things, you know, you're fired. Like, see you later. Because then we know what your motives are, right? You putting some joker in there. Now things happen, you know. Some people duck under, they lie about their income, they put, you know, things happen. All right. Any questions?
I got a comment about the
Yes.
the percentage paying property manager. I think if you get too low, you got to be concerned because they may not know the margin they need to operate plus make a profit.
Well said.
And so they're either making it up somewhere else on you, and you can't
Repairs. Yeah.
right usually on the repairs, or they're not properly managing their business. Either of those is
Well,
not
let's just do the math for fun, okay? How much does it take to survive, right? I mean, a cell phone, right? Let's just say $2,000 minimum. One guy trying to be cool, trying to be Mr. Property Manager. What's wrong with this thing? Does it, right? Mm-hmm. How many houses does he have to manage to just cover his costs? We'll do the math. Come on, guys. Let's say average is $700.
20, 25.
Yeah, 25.
Break even.
And they're working for what? Nothing. And when that tenant cries and yells at them that their heat and air is done, and they flip them off, and they said F you, and you sent 3 heat and air guys in, and they say F you to you, and you're sitting there and there's poop coming out of their toilet, and you know the laws, and they start saying the law says this, and how much did they make? So you're trying to nickel and dime them on 5%. I'm just saying. So, but what should you expect? I think reasonable is pretty standard. What Tracy said is 10%. That's pretty common, but you know you can reduce that with your portfolio. Okay. How do you market the rentals? That's another question that you should ask. Well, how should you market? Anybody know? Want to take a chance? How should you market your rentals? What's the first answer they should say?
Social media,
Huh?
Syndicate. Yeah.
You know, Craigslist. I want to know what they're where. You should know. What's the number one answer they always say? No.
Website.
No.
Sign in the yard.
Sign in the yard.
Sign in.
When I hear that, guess what happens in my mind? I'm scared. Wow.
That's pretty low.
This is a bullet. This is a bullseye. There goes my cage. I mean, my condenser.
Condenser, free
Seriously.
condenser is bad.
When the first thing that comes out of their mouth, you need to hear what they're saying. We just put a sign out front. No, true. There's unbelievable statistical data that you put a sign out, the house is sold. Majority of homes are sold by signs and stuff. It's true. Like that data is for real. But that I don't want that property manager. That's only what they rely on, is putting a sign out front. Because what does that sign do? Does that help you so much? It really promotes them. And have you ever seen the property management signs? They're like funky logos. Property manager blank blank blank. It should be like a phone number and what we're doing. We want the phone to ring. I don't care. Jimmy Jack is managing the property. He's using my property for his marketing. But just the question that you need to ask is, hey, how do you market the property? You know, what is a good thing that they should say? Anybody want to answer what they should say? What should you, Linda? How do you market your property?
Put mine on the MLS, Zillow, Craigslist.
See right there, I've never. I have not saying I haven't not heard that, but probably out of tons of people, That's probably the best answer. Not that she's probably dealing with high-end homes, but it doesn't cost her anything to put it on there. And guess what that network does? It reaches thousands of agents. So that I'd probably put that person, that chick, that lady, chick. Sorry, I don't want to be offensive, but put that female friend in my top list because she said she's thinking outside the box. MLS.
That's why she gets them rented before the next tenants are out.
And that yeah. I mean, I remember I've had so many property managers in my lifetime. There's like when the people move out, that's when we're going to start doing the job. So then I had to start incentivizing them. Hey, if you get this deal rented out, now I incentivize the tenant that's in there. If you show the property and get it rented, help us rent it, we're going to give you $100. And then I incentivize the person that's handling that transaction. Just because that $200 definitely stays down on my make ready. Because guess what? They moving out, they moving in, they didn't see that hole in the wall. No offense. That's what I'm trying to avoid. But if it's on the move out sheet. All right. The next question, you said, how do you screen them? What's the normal basic screening? Okay, let's go to who's picking on somebody else. Fake property manager. Russ, property manager. Sir, how do you screen your tenants, sir?
Well, you would obviously do a check credit reports on them.
Okay.
You might use the OSCN to see if there's any cases against them.
Court records?
Court records.
All right, you're fired. First, what's the number one thing they should check?
Evictions.
Well, evictions. Facebook. Do they have an effing job, and how long have they worked there? That's like the number one thing. It's like, look, you can have good credit, you can't pay if you don't got no job. Like, I think employment is solid. You got to have employment. Like, if they don't have a job or they just started a job, they've only been working there 6 months. What's a good timetable?
2 years.
2 years. Will you rent to somebody that's been there for a year?
Depends on the job.
Or the job before that job.
Mm-hmm.
If it was Wendy's and they moved over to Taco Bell, it's the same field.
Work history.
Work history. Okay. And then the credit report is I pull credit on everybody. They pull credit on me, I'm pull credit on you. You should pull credit on people. If you don't have access to pull credit, I can help you with that. The local company is called Employer Services. That's a good company. It's like $15. It's local. They have an office here in Oklahoma, on Lincoln.
They do the work number?
They do everything. They what they do is they do background checks for companies, for big companies. And so why not you do it for tenants? Now they're not going to do like housing on there, but I can get if I give them their social, I can get a lot of data that I need.
What was the name of their company?
Employer Services. Joe Lemons. Off of Lincoln.
Lemons or lemons?
Lemons. Lemmons. He's the guy I used in the beginning before I automated this whole process. This whole process is automated now for my company. But if you're just starting out, the second thing is you should ask your insurance. Sir, do you have insurance? He's going to say, what's the first answer? Yes. And what's your next answer? Great. What type of insurance do you have?
Liability on my car.
I mean, people are hustlers out there, man. Do you have business insurance? Do you have errors and omissions? If they're a real company, Tracy, do you have errors and omissions? Well, you're a realtor. But Linda, well, you're a realtor too. I guess you have, but you're on your brokerage. Do you have errors and omissions?
But these insurances are not.
Oh. Okay, huh?
These insurances are not expensive. Like
No,
it costs almost nothing.
but this just tells you that if they're committed in doing what they're doing, they should have that stuff. You know how much does it cost for insurance for a contractor? Does anybody know? Not the contractors. Don't tell me. But as someone that's
like a risk insurance.
Just what's a general liability? I'm gonna blow your mind on how much it costs. Does anybody know what it costs? Besides, if you're a contractor,
$1,500 a year.
He said $1,500. Who else? Nobody wants to try? Nobody knows?
For E&O?
You should know.
For E&O?
For who? What?
E&O, he said errors and omissions.
No, like general liability insurance. Like they come over and they cut their arm off. $1 million. Bond. Okay. Does anybody know what that costs? You need to know what that costs. How much?
100.
Hey, what world are you in?
40,
You can't do nothing for $100.
$200.
How much?
$200.
He said $1,500. He says a couple hundred. Nobody knows.
About 200.
200? No, it's like $800 to $1,200 a year for $1 million for a contractor.
Okay.
If someone's coming on your property, that's the first question I ask. Do you have insurance? Hello? And I want to see it. I got too much to lose messing around with somebody. Okay? And I don't have it. It's $800. $1,200. Hey, call my insurance agent, lock it up, and I'll prepay you $800. Just get it on. Seriously. I mean, you need to ask your property manager, do they have errors and omissions insurance? I don't know what that costs. How much does that cost? Do you know? A brokerage girl?
Mine's $900.
A year? Just for you? Are you under a brokerage?
I have my own brokerage.
Oh, that's your own brokerage. Okay, right on. Okay, great. Is that you?
Yeah.
Rose Rock?
Realtor, yeah.
I will write that down. Rose Rock Realtor. He's by himself doing his own thing. He has insurance. Now, will the errors and omissions hold up? I've seen a court case where it didn't. That's another
The
episode.
first thing you need to ask them is, do you have a sponsoring broker and are you licensed with the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission?
Well, this Oklahoma law.
Yeah, if they're not,
It's a
they're
freaking
operating
racket,
illegally.
man.
You don't want to hire somebody that's illegal.
All right. Yes, in Oklahoma, you have to have a broker's license or be under a broker, sponsoring broker. Okay. Insurance, got that. Retention, they're going to make up something. Okay, which they don't even know how to do statistical data on that. But if you want to know,
if they're using something like Appfolio, it'll show you that.
right?
Automatically.
But I'm just saying in general, if they can't answer you and they stutter on this one, it's normal. Okay, because even if they're CEO, they're going to know that I know that retentional data in my own world. Okay, you should know that. What's your occupancy rate? Now, here's a good question. How do you do your inspections? Do you go out there? Do you take photos? Or do you send somebody else? And what does that inspection tell?
I get it.
That's a question that you need to ask. Did you ask that question when you hired your property manager? No, you did. Why is that important?
Super important. Yeah.
Why is it super important, Mr. Matty Max?
Because you want to make sure that you actually do inspect for once.
True.
And it's not going to be. They have to have a system because once they have enough houses, it's an ongoing process. I get this 20, 30-page report for each inspection with all the pictures.
Well, tell me the company later. Okay, here's the thing. I've had property managers lock me up and never been to the property.
And then you're surprised.
Never been to the property. Well, if we had a case go down, there's no, like property just got damaged and the cleaning lady, this is a vacation property. The cleaning lady told me about it. And then you got to document this stuff. You know, if they've never inspected the property, how would you know if it was ever in that position? So, but to ask them, tell me about your inspecting. And how often do you inspect them? How often does your company inspect them?
2 to 3 times a year.
Okay.
They'll ask because they charge $79 for each. But
they charge you a fee?
Yeah.
How much is it?
$79.
$79. Okay.
It's worth it because.
No, I agree. I know a friend that this is an interesting subject, the inspecting properties. But in my company, we do at least 10 a month minimum. That the property manager is required to go look at 10 properties, and with a tenant in it. Because we've in the last 6-8 months, maybe a year, I don't know, because I'm so confused of what day it is. That we had a tenant in the property for 7 years and basically destroyed the whole property. And we never saw it. They paid on time. They were, but it was so bad that it was, $30,000 worth of drama that we could have prevented. That we could have, again, CEO, $79 a year, okay, would have prevented that, right?
Another option is like have your maintenance guy when he goes in to change the air filter, do a quick walk around.
Yeah.
You have to go in there anyway.
All our staff is trained. They take photos as soon as they get on the property. As soon as you get in the car, you turn the car off, you start snapping photos.
Oh yeah, they do that as part
of
the
I'm talking about you take a picture of your car.
I mean, it only makes sense to me, but
Yeah.
I think they're going a little above and beyond the Call of Duty, which is awesome. But at the end of the day,
well, I have them with their stuff in there. If you're working for us, you got a broom in your car. You got a trash bag. Like we should do interview. How do you interview a handyman? You need to have a trash bag. I got trash bags in my car right now because I'm on a property somewhere and there's trash somewhere. I carry trash bags. Okay. Inspecting. Some people charge a fee to inspect, right? Some people don't. How often do they do it? Do you get a report? right? How thorough is that? You said it's 20 pages?
Yeah, they have to take pictures of all the rooms and outside.
Yeah.
And then, well, I mean, they have
$79?
a software for it. They just go around with an iPad and then they do comments for everything they find.
Okay.
So that way there's a list if something needs to be fixed and whether it's on tenant or on
preventative
me.
maintenance. Great.
Yeah.
Another thing you should ask them: do you video the properties? You should probably, if you're going to hire a property manager, if they don't do that, I would strongly encourage that you do that.
30-second video, back it up on Google Drive. It's on there for life.
Yep. Excellent. Fees. Okay, this is a big one. Okay, at 8 minutes. What fees do you charge? A lot of people don't read the management contract, and a lot of people just go down. Some people charge a what fee? Give me some fees. Well, no, administrative fee. What's that? What does that cover? Administrative fee. What's another fee? Contractor fee. Trip charge fee. Eviction fee. We had a whole fee class. Remember that, guys? A fee for fee. Fee me. Your fee. All right. And if I was going to hire a property manager, the first question that I would ask, do you have that in writing? And I need to see that. And this is how you dodge that question. I just need it for account purposes for my accountant, so we're on the same page. Because things, this tenant just broke a window, and property manager, they're only making 10%, right? How are they going to make money if they're calling every contractor to replace that window, and then they have to deal with the bill? Some property managers pay the bill for you because you have a reserve account. Some property managers do, or they forward that bill to you, but they're dealing with the contractor. And if you're a deadbeat landlord and you don't pay that bill, okay, I believe there should be a fee in there. What is a typical fee for that?
10%.
10%?
Yeah.
10%?
With a maximum.
On the invoice?
On the invoice.
Okay. In Indiana, it's like 12. I've seen 20 on a rehab. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything about that? Fees?
You want to negotiate the maximum too, because if it's a really big something.
Negotiate the maximum. What do you mean?
So like it's 10%, but up to $500 for.
Well said. Write that down. So there's a cap. There's a ceiling.
I make all of mine like $35 or $50, whatever it is. No matter if it's like changing a doorknob or replacing a sewer main.
They get that fee.
Yeah.
Now, Appfolio does it really well, I think.
Yeah, that's what
has it put it in there,
yeah.
But Billiam does not charge it properly. It's because a friend of mine manages a lot of units, and he's got to manually do that, and it's very frustrating for him. But Appfolio does it.
What is he using? Like
Billiam.
Oh, Billiam. That's right. Okay.
All right. Other services do you offer? As Mr. Alan Moore said, do you do evictions? Are you a locksmith? And what's that when you serve notices? I love those people. They serve notices, and you're going to charge me $50 to go serve. And you're a property manager, and you're a general contractor. And ask them casually. Don't come out and like I'm, getting on you. Say, hey, what other services do you offer? I'd be real leery if they're doing like a whole. Oh, I install carpet too. You do? Okay, property manager. How much? The other question is, how much involved are you? Are you a hands-on? Are you CEO? Right? Are you an investor yourself? How could they be a real good investor if they're worrying about managing your property and they're out there running around trying to buy their own property? And then their team. Who's the team that you have working for you? How many contractors do you have, and what contractors do you use? And that question I ask is like, who are they? What's their names and their numbers? There's a case I saw just recently where they are the Good Old Boy network, and they're employing, this heat and air guy, and the guy's getting kickback on top of the heat and air repair. Does that make sense? And they're charging the fee. And so you have a flat fee service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's, adding a fee on top of the work.
How do they handle renewals? Is there a
Yeah,
fee to
that's a great
renew the
question.
property?
Is that on there?
$50 release.
How do you handle? Do you get a fee for that?
Yeah.
What's the fee?
$50.
$50 to $100.
50 to 100
Yeah.
every year if they continue
But
on.
that's better than
A whole new month.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to be prepared to see this. There's a vacation property I was looking at purchasing, and it's already got management in place. Oh, that's hey. But they charge. This is in Florida. They charge 20%. Like that's a standard down there. But don't forget, VRBO and Airbnb charge 8% too. So when you add it together, where are we at? 28. That's standard for like vacation properties. That's standard. Now, this property management company that I was interviewing, they had 3 tiers. Like, don't call me, it's 8%. You call me, it's 12%. You want full service and our cleaning lady, it's 20%. Fascinating. Okay. The big question that you need to see is, you need to see their lease. Okay? Regardless. You need to see their lease. Because if it's some from Home Depot or Office Depot, it's got to be written by an attorney in Oklahoma. And I would ask them that question. You know, in conversation, hey, is it written by? No, you know, ease into. I think one of these next 2 questions are the most important, and we'll end with these. How do we communicate? A lot of landlords that investors I've interacted with, they're very pissed off at the property manager because the property manager doesn't communicate with them. Now, there's software, there's portals where they connect, but this guy you want to communicate with? Whoever said that you're married to them, you are really married to them. And so, is this a person I want to hang out with? Maybe not, but are they going to be the quality of person are they going to shoot me straight? If, you know, I'm on a fishing trip somewhere and, you know, there's blood skewing everywhere and someone got shot in a property, are they going to be like, hey man, no big deal, we already got hazmat over there, right? Or, oh my God, you're going to die, you know, and they go into this whole big drama, right? Has anybody seen a property manager act like that before? Yeah, it happens. All right, and then the other question is, how do you cancel this contract? I was in a deal. I was locked up in a property management contract, and I tried to punk this dude, and Oklahoma's very clear on law contracts, and it was not an easy thing to get out of. It's not a way to get out of it, unless you want to buy your way out of it.
Or you put a clause into it before you sign.
And that's the goal here, and that's what we're going to end on right there. It is, you need to put a contingency of cancellation in the management contract, even if you handwrite that mother.
Absolutely.
Okay? If I decide at any time that this is not warrant, you know, blah, 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 okay? Make sure you put that in the contract. That was worth your admission today for that. Yes?
You're afraid to ask me.
No, I'm trying to end this deal.
I got one thing I kind of wanted to add to the group regarding management stuff. I've got a menacing dog situation right now in the North Highlands, of course. But
just sell the property.
What's
the dog? What's that?
The next door had like 5 or 6 pit bulls, and one of them tried to eat through a chain link fence to get them.
All right, what's the question? Pit bull dog?
I contacted Animal Welfare. They are enacting a new law August 4th for a menacing dog situation where they can give the owner a citation and they have to appear in court. Like if they got a speeding ticket, they have to appear in court. If they don't, then a benchmark can be issued for their arrest. To take care of the dog situation.
Oh, so you're just letting us know? Cool.
Okay. So this was
good.
I'm literally
get that dog out.
Yesterday and today about it because I've got this neighbor that has 5 or 6 pit bulls and they're going to kill somebody.
Just so you know, here, just if that ever happened, how would I handle that? I'm going to tell you how I'd handle that situation. Anybody want to take a chance on how you handle that one? Real quick, I can knock that out real fast. Seconds. Boom. Real quick. Not antifreeze. I didn't say that, man.
Blame him, that was cool.
All right. This is how you do it. You look up the property, man, the person that owns the property, they're not insured. 90% of all insurance companies don't insure pit bulls. There's only like one that insures pit bulls.
In this case, it's a homeowner.
Doesn't matter.
Their insurance policy is not on there. And I would send them a nice little. Do you realize that you having these pit bulls is a liability issue? You potentially could have a massive lawsuit, lose your home, go to hell. all these things could happen to you with these pit bulls.
How would you find that their insurance does not? Or are you just rolling the dice and hoping these?
Yeah, I always roll the dice.
Okay.
But I know I've
There's no way to,
hired like
look at their-
20 insurance companies. None of them have it in their policy. The only company that I have found to this date, and I have that insurance right now, Lloyd's of London.
Lloyd's. No.
That's the only one that I have found today. Shelter for sure. Even if Shelter hears that you have a pit bull, they will cancel your insurance today. 3 days. That's why I like you, because you read everything. I need you on my team too. You and mine. Because I don't read nothing. But I read the freaking dog thing, because I had a pit bull drama. I've had one in my lifetime. Anybody, I tried. I always send them a letter, certified mail. I would send my lawn care guy that has a few tattoos over there. Say, hey, you need some help? Just in a nice way, like, could we help you in any way? What can we do with this situation? But if they're an owner and they have 5 dogs, can you really? What can you do? Move.
We're supposed to have 4, but
Is there a law?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there is.
You got to have a kennel license or something if you got over a certain number. Is that true?
Well, I'm assuming it's got to be like against the law to house that many animals.
Ditches all laws, and if you call the pound, they'll come and pick them up because I've done that.
I always call animal control in the beginning. If there's that's my first thing is I try to work with the homeowner and say, hey, how can we make this work? Because 9 times out of 10, usually people that have this many pit bulls are not homeowners. They're usually tenants, right? But it's very rare. I would say very, very rare that a homeowner has 5.
I need to watch this video. That dog's straight smooth pulling through that fence. I mean, I've never seen a dog eat.
it crushed the chain link fence down.
Wow, it's called the 9mm. Seriously. All right, subject for next month? Yes, sir.
I want to bring up like one benefit of larger property companies.
Yeah.
If you have. So, they deal with a bunch of other landlords, and at some point they want to sell.
Huh.
And so they usually let me know. It's like, hey, this guy is trying to offload, and I've got a few really good deals there because their incentive is, well, they want to keep managing the place.
Right.
And they're a broker already because they
And they do, right? So they get a commission, and
right. That's
they
why
don't have to list it.
I lean towards your type of management, because they're focused on property management. That's all they like. I only want to hire people that are focused on that one thing. Like, even it's like hard to hire an attorney, right? It's really hard to hire an attorney because I was talking to someone the other day. Yeah, I do everything but divorce. So can you do a trust? Yeah, I can do a trust. Can I do it? Like, I want to do it. If I'm going to do a trust, I want a guy that's all the dude does is trust all day.
Like a doctor specializing in one
Yeah.
field.
So, but that's a good thing. Property managers landlords do sell. You should call me first. Come to the landlord lunch and try to present it here like we did. If you need to sell property, because we're always buying. Okay. So someone left their glasses for last month. Forrest Grant. Going once. We're going to donate them to somebody. Okay. Subject for next month. Nobody's hurting. Questions? Or do you guys want to continue on the property manager cycle?
Management's awesome.
We have enough material.
Everyone needs property management.
Okay, so property management part 2.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of where,
This is your time, guys. This is not my deal.
kind of what makes or breaks it.
Screening tenants.
Yeah, we've done that before, but we can do that again. We can do.
Social media marketing.
Okay.
Divide that up into a couple of different categories.
Social media marketing. Let's get on Facebook. Hit send, bam. Hey, I got a house. I was just.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.